I'm Michael, and this is California. And the CARES Act is best known for the $1,200 stimulus checks that it provided to Americans to help out during the lockdown and this pandemic. But one group of Americans, much smaller, actually got a lot more benefits than the rest of us. And that is specifically because there are overlooked benefits in the CARES Act that are designed just to help out millionaires, billionaires, and big corporations. $292 billion worth of stimulus checks have gone out to Americans over the last couple months, but $257 billion have become accessible to millionaires, billionaires, and corporations as a result of the CARES Act. So today, we're going to talk about how the very few, very wealthy individuals here in America and corporations got a whole lot more than a $1,200 stimulus check from the CARES Act. Now, before we do that, if you like this information, if you find it interesting, if you find it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. If we think back just a couple months ago, the world happened to be in chaos. The stock market was falling, the pandemic was increasing, and the government was shutting down small businesses and trying to figure out how to keep the economy afloat while everything was shut down. This really was the impetus for the CARES Act, which was about $2 trillion worth of benefits and stimulus to get to American people. And it included things like eviction protection, included expansion of social benefits, $1,200 stimulus checks, as well as PPP money to help people stay employed at their small employers. Some of the lesser known provisions under the CARES Act really helped out only the most wealthy folks here in America. And no, they didn't get any specific direct cash assistance like the rest of us, but they did have some benefits that are worth a whole lot more than the stimulus checks that we all got. So, of course, the most splashy of the benefits under the CARES Act was the $1,200 stimulus checks, which had income limits on it. So for a household of two people, it was around $200,000. If you made $200,000 or more, then you would not have been eligible for the stimulus check. But high earners got different benefits that would definitely make our $1,200 stimulus checks blush in comparison. So let's take a look at some of the benefits that millionaires and billionaires got under the CARES Act. All right, so the first big benefit that millionaires and billionaires are going to get under the CARES Act is something called elimination of the required distribution for retirement accounts. And essentially what this is if someone has a 401k and say they're in their 70s, then they are required every year to take out a certain percentage from their 401k. That way the money doesn't continue to grow tax deferred in perpetuity. So for someone who's 76 years old, that amount is 4.55%. And if you had $1 million, that would mean you have to take out at least $45,500 every single year, and that money would be taxed as normal income. Now, that's not that much if you have $1 million, but if you have $5 million or $10 million, 4.55% really comes out to a lot of additional money. And the government is estimating that they're going to lose around $11 billion in tax revenue as a result of the removal of the required distribution for this year that was authorized under the CARES Act. The second big benefit that millionaires and billionaires got out of the CARES Act is for those folks who have what's called a pass-through entity. And essentially what it does is it allows them to offset paper losses from their business for their personal income. And I'm not going to get into the complexities of it, but essentially what it comes down to is $115 billion worth of benefit for 43,000 households across the United States. And what that breaks down to per household is around $2.68 million, which is a heck of a lot better than the stimulus checks that we all got. And the total amount of revenue that the IRS anticipates losing as a result of this change is around $140 billion. So last one we're going to talk about is for charitable deductions. Now, normally folks are only able to deduct up to 60% of their AGI, their adjusted gross income, as a charitable deduction. But under the CARES Act, that cap has been removed and now allows folks to deduct up to 100% of their AGI as a charitable deduction, thus bringing their income down and bringing down how much taxes they have to pay. Now, the idea behind it is that these folks will donate more money to charity, especially in a time of need, but that is yet to be foreseen. And the government estimates that this change is going to cost them $4.83 billion in lost tax revenue. Now, I'm not one to make an argument for taxes, but it definitely seems like there's something wrong when the wealthiest 43,000 households in America receive essentially the same amount of money as the bottom 159 million, especially at a time when those bottom 59 million need the help most, and when Congress is struggling to figure out how to pay for all these necessary stimulus measures. There definitely is something wrong, and my hope is that in the future stimulus packages, that these loopholes will be closed up. Thank you so much for watching our video, and I hope that you found it interesting or helpful or at least useful. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos are available. Also, if you have any comments or questions, leave those down below. We'd love to see your comments and questions, and we'll be happy to make a new video or a new post as soon as we can. Now, finally, we here at California, we know health insurance. So whether it's Covered California, or Medicare, or Medi-Cal, or Medicaid, or health insurance for a small group, we know health insurance. Because we know it can be very confusing coming out of your work insurance and having to find private health insurance, or if you're turning 65 and trying to figure out what are the best options for your Medicare. Looking at Medicare plans that fit your need as well as your budget is exactly what we can do. So if you have any questions about your healthcare, leave those down below and we'll make a new video and post about those as well. Now, other than that, I am Michael and this is California, wishing you a happy, healthy day.